I've been working on a development project for my family for a while now. And my brother thinks the house is all his. My dad thumped his leg and gave him one set for his retirement. And my brother and I each had 2 sets. Grandma Ruth rushed out with a kitchen knife. Money-losing stuff. Dare to touch my grandson's house. My brother's daughter-in-law acted tough under someone's wing. Whoever takes the house away. I'll fight with whoever I can. I raised my head and snorted. You don't have a say in this house. Don't miss out on the many stories in fiction world by subscribing to Heartfelt Stories. The full text of a broadcast to the end. Don't forget to press the like. Leave a message. Share. Subscribe. Open the little bell. Wonderful story now begins. I was at the company signing a contract when Dad called me. The project team had just picked up a $3 million contract. Which was great. Quadrupling everyone's bonuses at the end of the year. I picked up the phone and held it against my shoulder. My hands still busy organizing the information. Nui. Come back quickly. Something big has happened at home. As soon as I heard this, I explained to my co-workers about the follow-up work and immediately took a taxi home. As soon as I entered the door, my father was dancing around the table excitedly. Your daughter is back. Our family is in luck. The exuberant voice of my father was overjoyed. The local authorities have just informed us that our family is going to have a redevelopment project. If we do the math, we'll have 5 sets of flats. 1 for me and your nanny. And 2 for you and your brother. My family is considered an inner-city neighborhood. When I first persuaded my dad to build a new house on the old homestead, he took out all his money and built a new house. My dad took out all his savings. I also added $250,000 that I had saved up over the past few years and helped my dad build the house. Every family was waiting for the redevelopment project for the old city to be remodeled. Unexpectedly, the policy came at the drop of a hat and the house was demolished at the drop of a hat. Grandma Ruth rushed out with a kitchen knife. Money-losing stuff. Dare to touch my grandson's house. The sister-in-law hurriedly hung up the phone with her mother's family and joined the fray. Raising her chin, she acted tough under someone's wing. Whoever takes the house away. I'll fight with whoever I can. Dad watched as Grandma Ruth started to get defensive again, and spoke patiently to her. Mom, this house was built only because of your daughter. Both children are equally dear. What Jiacheng has, your daughter must have. My family name is Lee. My younger brother is Lucas Johnson. He is my half-brother. His name is exactly the same as the richest man in Hong Kong. Ironically, he is Lazy Bum. When my mom gave birth to me, she suffered from blood clotting disorder, which led to hemorrhaging, and the hospital didn't save her. So she left. Grandma Ruth saw that I was a girl doll. My mom's first week after death had not yet passed. She opened up a match for my father. My father, a notorious devoted son, was at the mercy of my mother. However, Lucas Johnson's own mother was too poor to love the rich and couldn't stand the hard life. So she ran away with a businessman. Grandma Ruth thinks having a grandchild is enough. The child's mother can leave. If she wants to. There's still one less mouth to feed. Sometimes I think it's a relief to have my mom gone. I don't have to live with it. She's a girl. She'll be married in a few years. Giving her the house is not giving it to her in-laws for nothing. So don't even think about it. For so many years, I've put up with Grandma Ruth and that no-good brother because of Dad. Being submissive will only allow people who don't know any better to climb on top of you and make a fool of yourself. I looked up and snorted. You don't get to say anything about this family. My brother, who was always good for nothing, stepped on the door as if he were on point, slipped on his flip-flops, and dangled his head. My sister-in-law rushed to Lucas Johnson and gave him a hard whack. Lucas Johnson, you lied to me, is not it? How did you say to me? As long as I agreed to marry you, the house is all yours. Your father said, you and your sister will share the house equally. You are cheating marriage. You asshole. I said. My brother, who is obviously not popular in the dating scene, has married a daughter-in-law in the blink of an eye. It turns out that he is using the house to draw a big cake for others. I looked at the family members who were harboring ulterior motives and thought it was ridiculous. Jessica Lee. Why are you involved in everything? How many years have you moved out? And now as soon as you hear about the redevelopment project, you immediately come back to share my house. My brother, who was afraid of his wife, didn't dare to do anything to his family's fierce woman, but he just blamed me all the time. Since I graduated from high school and went to college, I have never been home to live. I almost didn't go to college then because of Lucas Johnson. My only brother stole the $5,000 my dad took out of the bank to buy a cell phone. My dad was uneducated, worked the most menial jobs, and made very little money. The $5,000 was all he had. At that time, Apple phones were very popular, and Lucas Johnson took the money to buy an Apple phone. I was really desperate. I couldn't leave, and I couldn't stay. Later, thanks to my high school homeroom teacher's financial support, I was able to have the opportunity to go to college. This family is like that. Even if Lucas Johnson is the one who makes mistakes, I am always the one who gets scolded and beaten. Grandma Ruth saw her granddaughter-in-law's heavy hand and immediately dashed over to protect her son. Emily Young. This is the lifeblood of our Lee family. You're hitting it too hard. The younger brother, with Grandma Ruth backing him up, became more and more aggressive. Jessica Lee. Don't even think about this house. It's all mine. I have to keep it for my son. Before I could say anything, Dad raised his hand and slapped. My brother covered his face and looked at Dad with a shocked expression. Adverse son, adverse son. You can have now. All because your sister is helping. Your sister works. And every year she takes money to subsidize this family. When you use her money, why don't you have such a backbone? You still have the face to mention this. As long as I'm alive. This house. Jia has a share. I raised my index finger at the foul Lucas Johnson and warned him. Jia, I've been giving in to you since I was a kid. Not because I owe you, but simply because we share a common father. Don't think I wouldn't dare to do anything to you. Grandma Ruth saw that her grandson was being beaten. She jumped on her dad in a flash and clawed at his chest. You say you're senile. You even hit your own son hard. You're trying to make me go to your dead dad earlier. Dad didn't say a word, hanging his head as Grandma Ruth scolded him. I saw Lucas Johnson standing behind Grandma Ruth with a dejected look on his face. With his milk as a death warrant. He was the king of the house. I grabbed my bag, turned around and left. Behind me, Grandma Ruth was still cursing and swearing. All the way from my father to 18 generations of ancestors. I made up my mind to not answer all calls from my family. Dad was protective of me, but he was jealous of Grandma Ruth. However, I thought I could stay away from right and wrong by not having any contact with my family. The truth is, just because you don't want to doesn't mean things won't come to you. I came home from work one day. I saw all my family members standing in front of my house. There was a lot of luggage around them. My heart thumped. My eyebrows jumped. A bad feeling came over me. Nui, you're finally back. How come you didn't answer the phone when I called you? Dad, what are you doing? Dad sneaked a glance at Grandma Ruth, who was leaning against the door, and stammered. The old house is going to be redevelopment project, so I can't live here anymore. So I was wondering if you could have it here. When I think about it, no. The government gives every household with a development project a rental subsidy. which can be received until the day the house is delivered. Don't you have rental subsidy? Why don't you rent another house? When Grandma Ruth saw me say this, she immediately replied, I have to keep this money because Emily Young is pregnant. And there are plenty of places to use the money in the future. I swept a glance at Emily Young, who was sitting on the suitcase, and her brother, who was playing with his cell phone next to her. We can't let them in. It's easy to invite the gods but hard to send them away. Just as I was saying no, the neighbors across the street came back from work. My dad and their big and small boxes blocked the walkway so tightly that they couldn't even stick a foot in. I had no choice but to ask them to go home first and leave the walkway empty. Dad, let me help you contact an agent. I know an agent who is quite nice. And he doesn't charge much for renting an apartment. I was trying to help them find an apartment. But I don't know what I said that made Grandma Ruth angry. She threw her suitcase on the floor and sat down on the sofa. Judja, are you kicking us out? This is not just a development project. Emily Young has it. If not, we would not have come to your side. This we entered the door. Not even a mouthful of tea. Buttocks have not warmed up. And you are in a hurry to drive us away, ah. Emily Young had it. And it had half a thing to do with me. I glanced at Grandma Ruth and turned my attention to my dad's face. Dad, what do you say? Dad pursed his lips and looked helpless. Nui nui. It's not like we can find an apartment to rent in a day or two. And Emily Young is quite pregnant. So why don't you let us stay on your side for a few days? The few days in their mouths were counted in years. With a pang of annoyance in my heart, I turned around and went into my room, closing the door behind me. The house I was renting had 2 bedrooms and a storage room. And I didn't want to care how they arranged it. All I could do was be quiet and figure out how to find a house for this family and send them away. I thought they were living in a house I rented and would be able to at least tighten up a bit. I didn't realize that they were even more casual than they were in their own house. And they were not human when they were casual. When I went out to use the toilet in the middle of the night, I almost didn't trip. Turned on the light and took a look. On the floor scattered a parlor of high-heeled shoes, as well as Nike and Adi sneakers. My dad, who was sleeping on the couch, mumbled something because of the blinding light and turned around to snooze again. A mess on the floor. As if screaming, challenging my bottom line. I pulled over a sack and threw those shoes in with a flourish. Carried the sack down the stairs and stuffed it all in the trash. Clapped my hands and went home to bed. In the morning there was a deafening knock on the door. Dad's snoring was so penetrating that it was nearly 4 o'clock before I drifted off to sleep. The knocking was like a wake-up call. I opened the door with an ooh. At the door were my brother and daughter-in-law, both of whom looked at me like they had their hands full. Lucas Johnson. I can't afford to have your daughter-in-law greet me so early in the morning. Don't be poor with me. Let me ask you. Where are our shoes? Where did you pack them for me? Emily Young stretched her head and searched my room. I covered the door to block her view. As I spoke, I yawned. I threw them away. Lucas Johnson was furious when he heard that. Jessica Lee. You threw away our shoes? Are you crazy? Emily Yang's face turned into a pig's liver color when she heard that I threw my shoes. Jessica Lee. Why did you throw away my shoes? They're brand new. Lucas Johnson. Get them back for me. Lucas Johnson. Get them back or I'll go back to my mom's house. Lucas Johnson viciously cut me a glance, flying like a leap to the trash can downstairs. When my brother came back, what he was carrying was the very bag that I had thrown away. Only it had been opened, with the filth of all kinds of garbage on it. And the stench was overwhelming. As soon as Emily Young smelled it, she immediately ran into the bathroom and threw up. Dad and Grandma Ruth just happened to be coming back from buying soybean milk donuts. When they saw my brother's face, they said, What's wrong? What's wrong? What happened? Grandma Ruth. Jessica Lee. That bitch. Threw away our thousands of dollars worth of shoes like they were garbage. Grandma Ruth jumped at the sound of it. Just as she did when her baby was thrown away. Jia Jia. This is your fault. Your brother's shoes. How can you just throw them away? Don't forget. He's your only real brother. When I was younger, I didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. So you poo me. And now you're giving me this moral abduction. I don't think I'll accept that. Grandma Ruth. Please realize that this is my house. And what's wrong with throwing things away when I thought they were garbage? I passed Lucas Johnson and saw that he was clenching his fists. He was so angry at my words that he couldn't say a word. If stairs could kill, he would have cut me into 1,000 pieces a long time ago. Dad's brow furrowed into a large chuan. He slumped his shoulders, put his breakfast on the table, and sat down silently. There are times when I kind of hate my dad. As a man, he was overly cowardly. I can't deny that he loves me as his daughter. But ever since I was little, there was always an absence when I needed him. He chose to shut up when his brother did whatever he wanted. As long as Grandma Ruth stepped in, he could tear up my textbooks, could sneak earthworms into my lunchbox, could wantonly cut up my new clothes. He can even come home and take it out on me when he loses a fight outside. If you don't teach your son, it's your father's fault. For a moment, I hated my dad too. I rubbed my vaguely aching stomach, and a thin layer of sweat broke out on my forehead. I hadn't eaten since last night, and I had made such a mess in the morning. I felt a pang in my chest and a burning sensation in my stomach. Only no one in my family could see that I was different. I picked up the bun from the table and was bringing it to my mouth to try and ease the burning. Grandma Ruth was quick to snatch the bun. The buns are for Ka Xing to eat. If you finish them, then what will our Ka Xing eat? A chill ran through my body. But I insisted on walking back to my room. Getting dressed. I grabbed a piece of chocolate next to my computer and left for work. Before I left the house, I left a comment. It'll help you guys find a good apartment. As soon as I got back to the office, I hurriedly pulled out the piece of chocolate and stuffed it into my mouth. Once I ate it, I felt my stomach warm up. The palpitations eased quite a bit. Suddenly, it felt like someone was approaching me. When I opened my eyes, Ryan Song was staring at me with burning eyes. I was startled and cleared my throat. Amount. Mr. Song. The report you want. I will send it to your office before 10 o'clock. He knocked my head with his hand. Do not have to be so desperate. Do not know the people thought the company as you open it. You help the company to take such a big single. Steele will be lazy. I will also turn a blind eye. Suddenly, he took out a sandwich from behind him and handed it to me. Raising my hand, I took it. You're hypoglycemic at first glance. Hurry up and eat something first to pad your stomach. Not giving me a chance to refuse, he put down this sentence, turned around and left. Ryan Song was my senior in college. 1 year above me. I've always been a loner. And I didn't have any close friends. When I graduated, I bumped into him when I was looking for a job. He said he wanted to start a company if I was willing to help him. At that time, I wanted to find a job quickly. I needed to rent an apartment. I needed to eat. I had no money. I had no choice. I agreed without hesitation and moved into his staff quarters that day. He is very nice and treats his old employees with extra respect. Only recently I heard the office gossip Xiao Chen said. Mr. Song seems to be in love. Right. Eligible bachelor is always not lack of love. Which is like us corporate slave. I nibbled on my sandwich and quickly got back to work. I realized that work loves me more. I can live without my family. But I can't live without my work. Just as I was about to take my report and submit it, a strange phone call came in. The caller said that my car, which was owned by me, had hit someone. I could vaguely hear Lucas Johnson's staggering voice beside me. Didn't drive out this morning. Low blood sugar. I was afraid of any accidents on the road. So I took a cab today. This asshole. How dare he steal the car keys? When I arrived at the scene, Lucas Johnson was still there chewing gum. Looking like I was right. Through the CCTV. It shows that Lucas Johnson is fully responsible for not avoiding the electric car. The injured person has been sent to the hospital. I calmly explained the situation to the traffic police. I didn't borrow this car. Lucas Johnson drove it secretly behind my back. Lucas Johnson refused to admit it. The traffic police warned Lucas Johnson that if he continued to deny responsibility, they would take the accident to court. Lucas Johnson is a paper tiger. As soon as he heard about the court, he immediately said he didn't dare to make a peep. He kept giving me the look and told me to hurry up and get it over with. Luckily, the other guy wasn't hurt very badly, but he had broken bones and needed to be hospitalized. Lucas Johnson's attitude angered the injured man and threatened to sue him. I called my dad and told him, and he took Grandma Ruth to the hospital to apologize. I called the insurance company again to handle the aftermath claim. The car was towed. I took a cab, intending to go back to the office. Lucas Johnson put a hand against the car door and said roguishly, "Let's get me home first." Lucas Johnson. You stole my car keys. You haven't settled the score yet. You still want me to take you home. You don't have legs. You can walk back by yourself. I don't have any money. Or you can transfer me $1,000 by WeChat. Shameless vampire. I glanced at him coldly and closed the car door with force. Halfway through the car, my dad's phone called again in a frenzy. The person on the other end had a tough attitude and had to sue Lucas Johnson. And Dad told me to hurry to the hospital. I turned back halfway again to deal with the Lucas Johnson mess. By the time we got home exhausted as a family, we realized that the perpetrator was actually drinking and watching a live stream. Dad was so furious that he picked up his wine glass and slammed it on the floor. Adverse son. You want to kill me alive. Why did I give birth to such a bad son? Grandma Ruth stepped forward and blocked the way between her father and her grandson, fearing that her father would really do something to her grandson. Why are you blaming Jia Cheng? If you want to blame him, you should blame Jia. She must have left the car keys behind on purpose. And Jia Cheng was so playful that he couldn't help but drive the car. Jessica Lee. You knew your brother was still young. So why didn't you buy a car earlier or later? And waited for Jia Cheng to come over to buy a car. Luckily Jia Cheng wasn't hurt. Or I wouldn't have finished with you. Listening to those ridiculous words from Grandma Ruth's mouth. It's really absurd that her mom opened the door to the absurd. It's absurd to the point of being home. I felt like I was doused with a bucket of ice water, chilling me from head to toe. Grandma Ruth has been protecting Lucas Johnson since he was a child. Lucas Johnson became more and more lawless. You're still a kid? He's going to be a father. And he has the nerve to mention the word little. If I hadn't grown up with such patriarchal and feudalistic thinking, I would have died on the spot. Grandma Ruth. He's already 30 years old. He's long since reached adulthood. If he keeps hanging around like this, he'll have to go in sooner or later. Lucas Johnson slammed the table when he heard me say that and instantly became furious. Jessica Lee. You're cursing me. Don't think I don't know what's in your heart. You want to swallow the house. I tell you. Don't even think about it. You this morning star. Hurry up and get out of my way. No wonder your mom died early. I grabbed Lucas Johnson's collar. You can scold me. You scolded my mom. I cannot bear this breath. What did you say? Say it again if you have the guts. You're not a bad person. Right? I went to the hospital today and gave you $20,000. Now pay me back right now. Lucas Johnson, seeing my ruthless behavior for the first time, was a bit scared. Seeing this, Grandma Ruth rushed forward to stop me. Judja, you only have one younger brother. As a sister, you have to let him have a little bit more. Not just spend some money. It should be you as a sister. If you do not give your brother to spend the money, to whom to spend it? Ah. Mom, you're still protecting this son of a bitch. Grandma Ruth scolded her father. Shut up. Don't talk about your rebellious son. When you are old, you will still have to be supported by Ka-shing. Don't you have any idea? Dad was yelled back by Grandma Ruth, and was instantly pinned down by her. He dared not say anything. I let go of Lucas Johnson's collar and turned to walk out of the house. I needed to get some air. I couldn't stay in this house for a moment. Ryan Song followed behind me as I entered the office with a black eye. Why are you so late? We're signing a contract today and Mr. Liu named you to come along. I then remembered that I actually forgot about something as big as signing the contract today. I collected my mind and professionally replied. Mr. Song. Let's go. Ryan Song saw that I was a bit different from usual and lowered his head to ask me with concern. What's wrong? Is the workload given to you too much? Don't worry. When it's wrapped up, I'll give you an annual vacation. I was confused by his sudden concern. No, it's not. The more work the better. He nodded. Well, sure is a workaholic. I don't know if it's my illusion or what, but I feel as if Ryan Song cares about me. But he obviously has a girlfriend. And there are pictures of the two of them circulating on the company's intranet. When that girl came to the company to look for him, I glanced at her from afar. She was all smiles and sunshine. It's a good match. Jessica Lee. What are you thinking? I ignored the sourness that rose in my heart, shaking off my head, thinking that I'm really overthinking. I saw Ryan Song's back as he walked away, and lifted my foot to follow him. After signing the contract, I accompanied Mr. Liu to the restaurant that Ryan Song recommended for lunch. When I went out of the restaurant, I saw Emily Yang holding a milk tea not far away. She was accompanied by a guy in his early 20s. And they were talking and laughing. What really made me suspicious was that Emily Yang brought the milk tea in her hand to the boy's mouth. The boy naturally took a sip. Ryan Song waved his hand in front of my eyes and he followed my gaze. What are you looking at? So lost in thought? I withdrew my gaze and paused. Someone I know. He asked me. Do you need to go say hi? I didn't have time to explain. Ryan Song. I need to borrow your car. Sure. I saw Emily Yang and the man get into a cab. So I asked Ryan Song to follow them. When I saw the car parked at the gate of a neighborhood, I asked Ryan Song to stop the car as well. I rolled down the window and watched the two people enter the neighborhood hand in hand and shoulder to shoulder. I hurriedly took out my cell phone and took pictures. Luckily, Ryan Song didn't ask any questions about my strange behavior. Ryan Song drove me back to the office on the way. I asked him for a favor. He has a friend who is a private investigator and asked him to look into Emily Yang. He didn't ask for anything and said yes. I've already found another apartment. And I've already told the landlord in advance that I won't be renewing the lease on the current one. As soon as I got off work, I went home to get some clothes. Standing in the entrance, the house simply cannot step on the feet. The floor is like a garbage dump, with fruit peels and paper scraps. When I pushed open the door, Emily Yang was lying on the bed. It's really not polite at all. I didn't come home for one night. And she immediately took over the bed. I ignored her, took out my suitcase and packed my things. She glanced at me coldly and continued to play with her phone. My dressing table was cluttered. Face creams and lotions were all spread out. It was obvious that someone had moved my things. Ever since I was a kid, Lucas Johnson treated my stuff like it was his own. And now that he's married, he's doing it again. People are bullied. Emily Yang. You touched my skin care products. Emily Yang didn't even raise her eyelids. Sister Jia Jia. I'm not pregnant. I can't use my old skincare products. I see that you're using high-grade goods. So I just used them. I picked up the essence and raised it. Casually used it. You used most of my bottle at once. She put down her phone with disdain at the corner of her mouth. I just used some of your essence casually. Why do you have to come up your nose and scold me? I wondered if she wasn't thinking straight. And which of my words I'd called her out on. Lucas Johnson heard the commotion in the room and rushed over to protect his daughter-in-law. Jessica Lee. Why are you so annoying? Picking a fight as soon as you come back. Emily Yang deflated her mouth and whispered. Sis. Then I'll pay you back for my skin care products. They're all new and haven't been used a few times. When she finished speaking, she even shed a few crocodile tears. The skincare products in her hand were like unregulated products sold by multi-level marketing. A brand that I had never even heard of. And she said they were brand new. But it was clear that they had basically bottomed out. I flatly refused. No. Keep it for yourself. Lucas Johnson's face instantly fell. His tone containing a threatening undertone. Jessica Lee. Don't give me that face. I ignored him. Took out a few clothes from the closet. Put them into the suitcase. Closed the case. And lifted it up to leave. Lucas Johnson didn't want to let me go so easily and yanked on my arm. His force was heavy. And I realized he was angry. The family can't disobey him. He's the king of the land. I'm swimming on the edge of his emotions. Why can't I go west when he says east? Are you deaf or dumb? The fire I had been suppressing spilled out and I disliked him. Aren't you the one who's deaf? I just said no. Lucas Johnson was a simple man. And he didn't hesitate for even half a second to say no. He yanked my suitcase out of my hand. He pulled my suitcase and slammed it down on me to show my weakness. Oh. Emily Yang added fuel to the fire. Stirring up the fire from the side. Sister. You don't want to Don't have to be so trampled on my heart. We are all family. Inevitably head up. I married into your family. Dowry did not. Jewelry set did not. I know Lucas Johnson once on the head. Anything is possible to do. In a hurry. I turned to Emily Yang, who was complaining bitterly, and said, Emily Yang, you don't have to be so sensitive. I see that you are pregnant. And everything you use must be carefully selected. So I took a leave in the morning. And went to the Galleria Mall to choose a gift for you. Which is not a little bit of my heart as a sister. I think I saw you there. Upon hearing the word Galleria Mall, Emily Yang immediately silenced her voice. I'm only going to talk about it to the point. If I say too much, there will be no evidence. And things will get out of hand. Emily Yang's face flashed with a hint of panic. But it was quickly concealed. She walked over to Lucas Johnson's side and took his arm. Putting out the fire she had just started in due time again. Jia Cheng. Look at you. You're scaring the baby in your stomach. Your sister is just talking a little bit more straight. My sister said that she specially went to the mall to give me something. It's all family. Don't make a scene. I tensed a string. My body stiffened. And walked to the bottom of the building before I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Don't look at Lucas Johnson, who is younger than me. Since I was a kid, he used to punch and kick me whenever something didn't go his way. Dad was too busy earning money to care about the family. Grandma Ruth never cared about right or wrong. Never turned to anything but her precious grandson and allowed her brother's violent tendencies. My person was away from them. But the fear of childhood beatings in my body, which I had deliberately suppressed, did not go away. I clenched my fists tightly and looked back up. This Emily Young. There was something 100% wrong with her. And Lucas Johnson was the sucker. Green but unaware. If she had just remained on the sidelines fanning the flames, then it was possible that I was wrong. She clearly had a weak heart and stepped in to relieve herself. Her words and actions are clearly those of a person who loves money. I don't believe she really loves Lucas Johnson. Lucas Johnson's behavior is something that most girls would shy away from. But Emily Young got a license with Lucas Johnson for nothing. She must have other intentions. Redevelopment properties. These 3 words immediately popped into my head. Just as I was deep in thought, a phone call came in. Things were getting interesting. I turned around and called my landlord again. The lease was up this month and I didn't want to renew it. I thought Emily Young would be more or less restrained by my words. But I didn't realize that she was still the most devilish person in my house. She went to some hospital and got a red packet and found out that she is pregnant with a son. Dad called me home again. He said he wanted to have a family gathering to celebrate the birth of his first grandson. As soon as I heard it, I knew it came from Grandma Ruth, who is the only one who would say such a brain-dead thing. I thought I'd let my dad know that I was backing out of the lease, so they could find another place to move to. Before I even entered the house, I heard a lot of noise inside. I went in and saw that the dining table was full of people. Emily Yang's father, who was sitting in the center, had a face full of flesh that made him unapproachable. When he saw me come in, he scanned me up and down with his eyes. It was a very unpleasant feeling for me. Oh, it's all Emily Yang's family. It was a full house. Lucas Johnson saw me coming and called me sis for the first time ever. My eyebrows shot up. This guy must be up to no good again. He held a piece of paper in his hand and walked towards me. Lucas Johnson shoved the paper into my hand and raised his chin. Sis. Hurry up and sign it. Grandma Ruth, who usually scowled at me, came to me at some point and smiled kindly at me, urging me to sign it like her grandchildren. I picked it up and saw that it was an agreement to voluntarily relinquish the right to inherit development properties. I searched around. Did not see the shadow of Dad. I grimaced and slammed the agreement on his chest. Lucas Johnson. Where's Dad? Lucas Johnson's mouth quirked. From now on, in this family, I'm in charge. So stop nagging and sign it. Do you know you're committing a crime? Don't give me that legal bullshit. If you don't sign this today, you won't be able to walk out of this door. Lucas Johnson. I'm giving you one last chance. Don't do this kind of dirty tricks. This agreement has no legal effect at all. Emily Yang's father is not playing a false game. Snapped and slammed the table. Stood up and yelled. Don't be a pussy. Hurry up and sign it. Sign it and get out of here. I know Emily Yang's dad is not a good person, but I really didn't expect him to be a real hooligan. Jessica Lee. Before my old man gets mad. Hurry up and sign this. Lucas Johnson said. His eyes half smiling. Lucas Johnson half narrowed his eyes. His words full of gunpowder meaning. I clenched my back teeth and rebuffed. No sign. That's right. I'm going to fight with you thugs today. Lucas Johnson was so agitated that he raised his hand and slapped me across the face, knocking me off my feet and sending me tumbling to the ground. I could taste blood spilling from the corner of my mouth, and the taste sobered me abnormally. Lucas Johnson approached me while grinning deviously. He grabbed me hard by the collar of my shirt and raised his right fist. Punch after punch. Hard and precise. All I could feel was my breathing suddenly becoming heavy and gold stars were popping up in front of my eyes. He was bloodthirsty and beating me to death. The sound of his gasping for air made him unusually hyperactive. and his blows became heavier and heavier. Lucas Johnson. He was insane. I told myself not to fall. Never to fall. Stop. A stern voice jolted Lucas Johnson's movements. I let out a breath. He was coming. He's finally here. Luckily, Ryan Song arrived just in time. Ryan Song was followed by uniformed police officers. My injuries were so obvious that the police quickly took control of the scene. They took Lucas Johnson away for willful wounding. And Grandma Ruth, who didn't say a word while I was being beaten, cried her eyes out when she saw Lucas Johnson being taken away. She stopped the police from carrying out their duty. But she kept slandering me and pouring dirt on me. Comrade policeman. It's her. It's this woman who started the trouble. My grandson is innocent. You can't arrest him. Jessica Lee. Please say something for your brother. I leaned against Ryan's Song, my body trembling uncontrollably. Just as I entered the neighborhood, I received a call from my dad. He said he lied to me and told me not to go back. Emily Yang's family was urging Lucas Johnson to clean me up for the house. Emily Yang's dad is the umbrella for the Village Redevelopment Project office. All black-on-black hooligans. Lucas Johnson has hooked up with these gangsters and will be in danger if he goes. I hung up the phone. In fact, there was a moment I wanted to turn around and leave immediately. But for so many years, I've been bullied so many times. I'm not willing to do it. If justice will always come, why can't I make it come a little earlier? So I picked up my cell phone and dialed Ryan's Song. Ask him to do me a favor and ask him to bring the police to me. All I said was that there was danger. Luckily, he finally arrived before I was killed. My injuries were not life-threatening. However, Lucas Johnson was detained for 15 days. On my first day at work, Grandma Ruth was jamming up the office. She said she wanted justice for her grandson. If you don't leave, I'll call security. You ungrateful wretch. You ate my rice. And now you want to drive me away. Without me, where would you be now? When your wings got hard, you kicked us out, causing Ka Xing to still be suffering in county jail now. I'm going to show your colleagues in the company what a piece of work you are. I retorted. Grandma Ruth. You deserve the most credit for what Lucas Johnson has become. And I really thank you for leaving me to my own devices as a child so that I could have the chance to go to college and make a name for myself. Grandma Ruth's features gradually twisted as her chest rose and fell violently. I'll beat you to death. You sinful bastard. Our Lee family has done great sins to give birth to such a contraction as you to plague our Jiacheng. I'll beat you to death. Grandma Ruth, relying on the fact that she was an old man and the people in the company did not dare to do anything rash to her, raised her hand and was about to make a gesture to lunge at me. Suddenly, her arm was tightly bound by someone and she could not move. Turning her head, she saw that it was Ryan Song. She followed Ryan Song's direction and sat down on the ground, spilling her guts. Grandma Ruth. This insurance scam thing. You'd better not learn it. I pointed to the surveillance camera in the corner. The company is equipped with surveillance cameras. It's clear whether it's black or white. If you still want to have some face, just hurry home. Grandma Ruth cried 1 second, then braked the next. Jessica Lee. Get me to the police station if you can. I shrugged. If you really want Lucas Johnson that bad, I really don't mind sending you in. After all, you're in the middle of a public disturbance with intent to injure. Grandma Ruth got up from the floor in a heap, her temper weakening. Don't scare me. You think I don't know the law? I know people in the police station. Don't think I'm afraid of you. It's against the law. My own granddaughter is going to lock up Grandma Ruth. You're waiting to be struck to death by lightning. Our Lee family grave won't accept you. Ryan Song was sober. His eyes glazed over. Ryan Song sank his face and his eyes were stern. Old lady. If you continue to make a scene and interfere with the normal operation of our company, I will call the security guards to throw you out. Now. Please leave immediately at once. Grandma Ruth skimmed her lips. Humph. You still run a company. Even recruiting people like Jessica Lee. I think your company is not far from closing down. With these words, she turned around and left with her tail between her legs. I went up to her and apologized. I'm sorry. If my personal matters are causing a problem for the company, I can resign. Ryan Song raised his eyebrows slightly. I can't let you go. It's the company's loss if you leave. It was soon time for the redevelopment properties room-sharing meeting. I clutched the document bag in my hand and walked towards Lucas Johnson, who was smoking in the crowd. I had waited too long for this day. As soon as Lucas Johnson saw me, the smile on his face disappeared. I know that the last time he went to county jail, he hated me with a new hatred. The family. All of them. Pretty good. Tidy. Emily Young had a fake smile piled on her face. Judja sis. You showed up knowing that the house was divided today. Did Dad tell you that? I smiled with my teeth. I have a share in the house. My own house. I definitely have to grab it myself. I saw the corner of Emily Yang's mouth stiffen. Resentfully silent. Lucas Johnson threw his cigarette but casually to the ground and spat. Jessica Lee. You didn't get beaten up enough last time. Your skin is itching again. Carson. You bastard. Cut the crap. She's your sister. Dad lowered his voice and reminded Lucas Johnson. There were old neighbors everywhere. And Dad didn't want to embarrass him. Shut up. Old man. The guy, knowing the house was almost his, couldn't change his nature. I picked up the bag of papers in my hand and raised it in midair. Lucas Johnson. The last time you gave me a big gift. As a sister's. I have to give you one back. Otherwise. I really can't get over it in my heart. Before the words left my mouth, I handed him the file bag. He took it with a skeptical face. Yo. You know you can't compete with me. You have to give up your house. Why would I make such a big fuss if you gave it to me earlier? Lucas Johnson said with a gangly smile as he opened it. His expression changed drastically. His veins rose. And the fire in his eyes seemed to be burning. Emily Young. You bitch. How dare you lie to me? Emily Young was coldly bluffed and shook. Jia Cheng. What are you talking nonsense about? You're going to scare the baby in your belly. It's fine if you don't mention the baby. But when you mention the baby. Lucas Johnson slapped Emily Young. Tell me. Whose baby is in your belly? Emily Young rubbed the side of her face that had been slapped in pain. What's wrong with you? If it's not yours. Whose is it? Lucas Johnson gritted his teeth and stared at Emily Young. Wang Lei. Who is it? When Emily Young heard the name, her eyes flickered and her voice was weak. I don't know who he is. Lucas Johnson raised his leg and kicked her. Lucas Johnson raised his leg and kicked. Fuck you. You actually cuckolded me. You were pregnant before you married me. I told you. You had to get married and let me touch it. Fuck me. Lucas Johnson. Enraged. Kicked over. The kick was just right on Emily Yang's stomach. Emily Yang rolled on the ground and wailed in pain. Emily Yang's mother's family and a man named Wang Lei rushed out from the crowd. I knew he had to be there. When I looked up Emily Yang, I found out that the man she was with was named Wang Lei. And that Emily Yang had been pregnant for a month before she married Lucas Johnson. Emily Yang was pregnant for a month before she married Lucas Johnson. And the man who acted as a matchmaker was Emily Yang's uncle. His uncle is the director of the redevelopment project in charge of the local authorities. All of this points to one thing, redevelopment properties. Because my family is going to get 5 of them. The man called Wang Lei. His family is also one of the redevelopment project households. Only his family can only get 1 set according to the area. And Wang Lei has a younger brother. Wang Lei also has a younger brother. 1 set is not enough for 2 brothers to share. So they went after Lucas Johnson. Emily Yang used her child to try to cheat my brother's house. But she didn't realize that the net of heaven is wide open. The sky is the limit. It just so happened that I bumped into both of them. It is impossible for Wang Lei not to show up for something as big as splitting the house. When Wang Lei saw Emily Yang being beaten up, he fought with Lucas Johnson. Emily Yang's mother's family also joined the fight. Lucas Johnson was so mad that he picked up the stainless steel chair of a staff member and hit Wang Lei's head with a bang. Wang Lei fell back and lost consciousness. Emily Yang was in shock. She rolled her eyes and fainted. The red blood between her legs stained the ground. Seeing this, Emily Yang's family members went up to Lucas Johnson and beat him up. Grandma Ruth, who was protecting her grandson and was afraid that Lucas Johnson would be killed, desperately tried to push them away. Unsure of who pushed Grandma Ruth, she stumbled backward, hit a stone pillar, and fainted on the spot. Her father was holding Grandma Ruth, screaming for her to call 120 and not to call. The scene was a mess. Lucas Johnson was sentenced to 7 years and 500,000 RMB for intentional injury that killed Wang Lei on the spot. Emily Yang suffered a miscarriage. The scene was chaotic, and the cars blocked the traffic, causing delayed transportation to the hospital. Plus she was too big for the month, and had to have her uterus removed when she arrived at the hospital. Emily Yang's family refused to give up and filed a lawsuit against Lucas Johnson. Lucas Johnson bit the dog, and exposed all the illegal activities of Emily Yang's father and his uncle in the development project. Lucas Johnson was ordered to pay Emily Yang $300,000 in damages. Emily Yang's father was indicted and sentenced to 5 years imprisonment with immediate effect for his involvement in the development project for personal gain. Grandma Ruth had a stroke, and she couldn't accept that Lucas Johnson was in jail. Every day, she kept saying, "I'm the one who caused Catching's death." Dad was so overwhelmed that he found a suburban nursing home and put Grandma Ruth there. Dad didn't have enough money to compensate the victim's family, so he had to sell the 2 suites he had left to his brother. I haven't set foot in the house since Lucas Johnson was sentenced. Dad called me twice to ask me to visit Grandma Ruth in the nursing home, but I refused. Suddenly, I felt that the chains had been lifted, but my heart was still cold. That day, I unexpectedly received a call from Mr. Liu. Said that he knew a young man of the right age, felt very suitable for me, and asked me if I was interested in meeting. I was going to refuse, but by some miracle I agreed. Mr. Liu's voice came from the cell phone. The meeting took place on a weekend at a coffee shop. I pushed the door and walked into the store, and immediately recognized the high-quality young man in the window seat. Mr. Liu said, "The first time we met, in order to avoid mistaken identity, the young man would wear a navy blue cap. I couldn't see his front. He was ordering coffee with the clerk. Only, I thought his back looked familiar. Hi, I'm Jessica Lee." The quality young man turned his head at the sound of my voice, a smile on his lips. I was stunned, a little confused. I looked around the coffee shop again to make sure I was right before I sat down. I was face to face with him. "Ryan Song. It's you. Why can't it be me? You have a girlfriend. She even came to the company to look for you." Ryan Song's deep gaze was fixed on my face. "Who said I have a girlfriend? That's my cousin. She just graduated from college and wants to work in my company." At his words, I couldn't help the corners of my mouth. They just went up. Well, a quality young man. That's interesting.